What's up, my YouTubers? What's up, my subscribers? What's up, my followers? What's up? So, who we got on the menu today, y'all? We got Brick Baby and we got Loose Cannon. And both of them was denied bond. It was a no-no, alright? So, fuck it. Next step, they can have another type of bond hearing if they have the money to pay their lawyers to try to help them get out of there, right? So, let me explain something to y'all in the federal system, because I was in the federal system. So, I mean, if you gonna listen to somebody, you should probably be listening to me about how the federal system works, because a lot of these people, and I don't take no credit away from them, and they doing a podcast right now, and they saying, hey man, these dudes was in there. They thought, a lot of people thought they were going to get bond and release and stuff like that. And what it is they don't know how the federal system works. So what I'm going to do is explain to y'all how the federal system works, y'all, because I was in there. So federal system has guidelines. It's called a federal guideline. A guideline is basically like rules, okay? So what the guideline does is it explains your sentence. So let's take Brick Baby first, okay? Then we'll do Loose Cannon, all right? So let's do Brick Baby first. Let's say, so he caught a case. His case is a gun case or whatever. He got the gun case in there. So with a gun case in federal, how much time are you looking at, right? Okay. So, on a gun case in federal, if you don't have any priors or anything like that, you could get probation. You can get probation. Now, if you have one prior, guess what? That prior bumps your probation up when you could have got probation for that, to now you're looking at 5 to 10 years. Alright, that's with one prior. That's automatic. There's no, listen y'all, in the federal, there's no negotiating like that. When you have a prior felony already on your record, your on the guidelines, they got guidelines when they sentence you. 5 years is the less you can get. That's like the less. And then it goes up to 10 years. 5 to 10 is what you're looking at with one prior. That doesn't mean that the judge have to sentence you from 5 to 10 years, but that's like a mandatory minimum that you can get is 5 years. Now, if the judge want to be lenient or something, he has the power to probably say, look, I could still give you 3, even though you was looking at 5 to 10 years. You understand, y'all? That's with one prior on your record. That's if you got in trouble once. If you got in trouble twice, if you get in trouble twice, y'all, that bumps your gun charge up with the federal guidelines to 10 to 20 years. If you got 2 priors on your sentence, just for a gun, you're looking at 10 to 20 years if you got in trouble with the law twice, because they go by points. So each time you got in trouble with the law, you done time in jail or something, that's a point. You got in trouble again, that's a point. You got in trouble again, that's a point. So if you got 3 points, if you got in trouble 3 points on your record, you're looking at 20 to 30 years just for the gun charge alone. I'm serious. This is how the federal system works, y'all. Now, will Brick Baby be facing that type of time? Probably not. Now, do Brick Baby have priors? That means, have he been in trouble before? He probably have, y'all. So his sentence is going to range from like 5 to 10 years. And that's just for his gun charge. That's not for anything else he's in there for. If I knew like everything, if I could read his paperwork or whatever and see all his charges, I could go down the guidelines, the federal guidelines with y'all, and explain to y'all how much time he's looking at if it's more than just a weapon charge that's up in there. You know what I mean? And that's that, y'all. Now, if he has other charges with the gun charge, and he already got in trouble, so they add a point to his record. It go by points. If he got in trouble twice, he might have 2 points to his record, and he's fighting a gun charge and something else. He could be looking at 20 years to life. 20 years to life, y'all. That's how the federal system works. It could be something as small as a gun charge, and you could be facing 20 years to life with a gun charge. And let's say you had a robbery or something on that. To life. They don't play in there. So, and another thing with the federal system is that, you know, in the state, when you go to the county and stuff and you get sentenced from the county, right, y'all? They go by years. They'll say, well, hey, you got 2 years, you got 3 years. They'll sentence you to 3 years. You know how much time you got. All right. In the federal system, when the judge sentences you, they go by months. They don't go by year. They go by months. So the judge can say, hey, look, you got 60 months. So you got to add up how long is 60 months. You got 90 months. You got 120 months to do. They go by months in there. All right. So if they tell you, hey, 120 months, well, you thinking, well, damn, how much time is 120 months? You add it up in your head. 120 months is like 15 years. That's like 15 years just since you shoot 120 months. That's like 15 years. And the federal, they go by their guidelines. If the judge is lenient, like I say, he could go below the guidelines, but the DA is pressing for the maximum sentence. That's for anybody up in there. The federal DA do not play. They're real harsh. They'll tell the judge, hey, the maximum sentence we want them to get is life. The minimum is 10 or the minimum is 15. You know what I mean? That's just for Brick Baby, okay? Now, Loose Cannon, on the other hand, I don't exactly know his charges, so I can't speak on that. I could come back, read some paperwork on it, and show y'all his charges, but I'm pretty sure by both of them being denied bail, that means both of them have priors on their record. So they both have points on their record. Now, if Loose Cannon got in trouble and he has a 1 point, that point adds up for 5 years. That's not including what you got charged with. All right. Same for Brick Baby. So if Loose Cannon is in there for, let's say, a robbery, okay, and he has 1 point, that means he got in trouble before, so they added a point to his record. That point is 5 years by itself. Not including the robbery could carry 15 years to life or something like that. So you take that 5 years, that's the minimum he could do, because you already got 5 years because you already have a point. So the 5 years is just a minimum you could do. Now, what you get sentenced to the robbery or whatever he's in there for, the judge can say, hey, look, man, you got to do this amount of time because you have priors. That's how crazy the federal system is, y'all. I want y'all to understand that, though. So when you in the courtroom and the federal system, they don't just get cases over with. They don't just rush with their cases unless you have like a speedy trial. Now, if Brick Baby and Loose Cannon wants speedy trial, then they can tell their lawyer, hey, we want a speedy trial. We want this trial to start like right now. And it's up to the judge to say, hey, okay, I could grant you this speedy trial. Let's get this on over with. The reason why people do speedy trials is because if you have witnesses or the DA doesn't have their evidence ready, if you have a speedy trial, you can get in court, and if they're not ready, you could possibly get your case thrown out. Now, this doesn't happen all the time. It has happened, though, y'all, with the speedy trial, because you're telling the judge, hey, look, I want to get this trial. Let's go to trial right now. We can start this trial within a week. Let's go. Get it on over with. And sometimes they don't have the evidence. Sometimes the witnesses can't be there. And boom, you might get out that way. So if I was Brick Baby and Loose Cannon, they're already in there. I wouldn't waste my time just waiting on court dates with that set by the judge, because how they do court dates in there, it could be every 2 months or something. They might not go to court for another 2 months. So this is April. They might not go back to court till June. They could go to court in June. They might not go back to court till like September. You know what I mean? It depends. It depends. It all depends. The judge can take a vacation tomorrow and be like, hey, I'm not coming back until won't. You know what I'm talking about? So he could be gone for 2 months and be like, hey, so we'll see y'all back in July or something like that, man. I won't be back. I'm on vacation till July. Y'all next court date, July 20th. Let's go. And boom, you got to wait for that judge to come back. You know what I mean? It's like that in the federal system, y'all. So I hope y'all got some knowledge on how the federal system works. And for the young and older people who have never been to the federal system, stay out of trouble. That's all I'm going to tell y'all. I'm keeping it real with y'all. I'm keeping it 100 with y'all. It's a lot of nonsense going on out there, man. It's a lot of dudes out there, you know, when you hanging around your homies and stuff get to going, you're not thinking no more. You out there, you know what I mean? Although you have a mind of your own, you kind of tend to get loose with it. And now you're out there and then all of a sudden, boom, you done ended up somewhere that you don't want to be. You know what I mean? So this is why I'm telling y'all, man, like, stay out the way. Stay out the way with the federal system. Stay out the way. Because, listen, man, this is not a RICO like with the state. They have a federal RICO. Do y'all know that the federal convict like 90% of their clients? You know what I mean? They're nothing to play with, y'all. The feds is nothing to play with. It's not like the state where people get their cases thrown out and, you know, sometimes you can slip through the crack, you know, and maybe wiggle your way out this way. It's not like that in the feds. When the feds come, they come hard, y'all. And when the feds build evidence up on you, they build heavy evidence on you that's going to stick. Do you hear me? That evidence will stick. You know what I'm talking about? And they don't play, y'all. And then, not on top of that, the difference between the state and the federal system also is the jurors. The jurors that be on trial in these federal trials, these are not regular jurors. You know what I mean? And for those of y'all who don't know what a juror is, these are the people who's going to say you're guilty or not guilty once you present your case in front of them and they heard all the evidence and everything and they get to decide whether you're guilty or not. Those are the jurors. And the jurors in the federal system, y'all, are well educated. Do you understand me? You got people that might have graduated from Harvard University. You know what I mean? You might have a doctor up in there sitting right there listening to you. You know what I mean? These are people. I don't mean no offense by this, y'all, at all. These are people who come from a background who might not have came from a background like yours. So they might not be understanding to what actually happened and what you done been through in your life and what you going through and how you got caught up in this situation. You know what I mean? These are people who never, ever ended up in trouble, who don't even know what wrong is, y'all. They never probably even had an argument before, some of these people. Never even argued with anyone before. Never got hit before. Never as a child you got a little smack on the butt or smack. None of that stuff, y'all. No discipline. These are people who are well educated, and guess what? They sit back in the chair and they listening to your case. So imagine what's going through their head when they listening, y'all. Is it going to be fair? 9 times out of 10, no. And that's why the federal has a 90% conviction rate in there, because the people will not understand where you're coming from, y'all. You know what I mean? This is why a lot of dudes cop out and take plea deals and stuff like that and be like, look, man, I ain't taking this to trial. A lot of dudes just plead guilty automatically and deal with it that way. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, y'all, I hope y'all understood something about the federal system. If y'all got any questions, man, hit me up. You hit me up, man. Leave me a comment below, man. I'll get back at y'all. I'll gladly answer some federal questions, y'all. You know what I mean? When I was in the federal system, and I went in, y'all, it was just for a drug offense, but it was harsh. I didn't have to do all the time because the judge was lenient when they passed the bill to give me some of my time knocked off, and thank God for that. But if they didn't come out with a law, it was like they gotta follow the guidelines. So let's say even if, like I say, I took Brick Baby for instance, right, with a gun charge. Even if the gun charge carry a 5-year sentence, with he got a prior, they not supposed to go below the guidelines, y'all. And that just 5 years. That's the minimum. That means that's the less time you could do is 5 years, and then the maximum might be 10 years just for the gun charge. So you could get any range from 5 to 10 years just from having a weapon, y'all. And think about it. A lot of these dudes and a lot of y'all dudes out there who never been in trouble before, who have illegal weapons and all that, y'all don't even need to know illegal weapon. You could go in the store and buy a weapon, bro. You could go register a weapon in your name. You never been in trouble before, and if you get caught, at least it's your weapon. Like, hey, look, man, this is mine. I was going to the gun range, the shooting range. You can say anything. You know what I'm talking about? But a lot of these dudes are so dumb when they're young, and you don't need no weapon anyway. But I'm saying a lot of dudes are so dumb, and you young, you're not thinking you buying guns off the street that's stolen or hot or whatever. You get caught with it, it's like, hey, look, you got caught with a stolen weapon, first of all. You know what I'm talking about? Like, sometimes y'all got to use your head, though, man. Don't go backwards with some of these dudes, because if you play dumb with them, you might as well just be dumb. If you can't stand up to nobody and tell them how I'm telling y'all about what's real and what's not, ain't no point in talking. If you're going to play the dumb road, then just keep playing the dumb road. You know what I'm talking about? But at least be smart with it. That's all I'm saying. If you're going to be a criminal, be a smart criminal. Why you got to be a dumb criminal? Just because this nigga stupid, you got to be stupid too. So you stupid one and he's stupid two, or you stupid two and he's stupid one. Right? You know what I'm talking about? So, come on, man. Y'all got to think while y'all out there, man. When stuff moving too fast, I always slow it down. I always slow it down and really pay attention to what's going on. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these dudes will get you caught up in the trick bag, man. And before you know it, you up in there, you don't know what the fuck happened. And you like, man, how did I get myself into this? And you got to ride it out. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the code of the streets. Everybody know the codes of the streets. Ride it out. You know what I'm saying? So I hope y'all learned something, man, about how the federal system works. From me, L Doggy, I'm giving it to y'all raw and uncut, how it's supposed to be. So if you ever in the system, and like I say, if you and federal system, they got a federal RICO, right? So I mean, that's big. Listen, y'all, that's not no small case where it's like, oh, hey, the hood, we just got a RICO or something. No, y'all. That's a federal RICO, man. A federal RICO. Big U, man, I don't speak on Big U because I know the situation that Big U is in is so serious, y'all, that I don't even speak on his case at all. All I could do is just tell y'all, man, like, you know what I mean? The federal system is hard to beat. That's all I'm going to tell y'all. No matter what lawyer you got. A lot of people don't even get lawyers when they go up in there, y'all. You know what I mean? Unless the lawyer can find like a flaw, like something that they messed up on where they could get your case thrown out. If the lawyer can't find any flaws in when they present to you the evidence that they holding against you and what you charge for, if he can't find any flaws in the paperwork that they charge you with, 9 times out of 10, when you go to court, you don't even need a lawyer, man. Because the guideline, the sentences, like I say, the range is no way out. What a lawyer gonna do? He gonna tell the judge the same thing and the jury the same thing that you could say on your own, with your own mouth. There's no getting out of it, y'all. I'm telling y'all, man. When the feds build up a case on you, that mean they got something on you. Federal just don't take small cases and be like, oh, well, we just want this guy. No, they take solid cases. It don't matter if it was the case was small or not. They just want a solid case where they like, oh, we got him for sure. Boom, let's run it. You know what I mean? And that's what they do, y'all. But yeah, man, they go by guideline when they sentence y'all. They sentence people by months. They go by the month. You know what I mean? And Brick Baby and Loose Cannon, man, it's not looking good for them. It's not looking good for them at all. And here's why. This is why it's not looking good. Because first they was denied bond. That's the main thing, is the bond, man. And bond really doesn't count for, even if they let you out on bond, that still hasn't anything to do with your case. It's just at least you could be free until you hear a sentencing or something like that. You know what I mean? Now, I'm gonna tell y'all something straight up. Is bond, do Brick Baby and Luce Cannon really want bond? Of course they do, because they just want to get out on the streets because they got locked up, surprisingly. So of course they want to hit the streets right away. You understand? They like, man, I just want to come out. I just want to come out. I'll fight my case on out. But in reality, in the federal system, that's not good. It's best for them to stay in there and fight their case, you know? And here's why it's best for them to stay in jail and fight their case instead of getting bond and fighting it on the outside. So the reason why it's better for them to stay inside while they fighting their case is because once they're sentenced, and they will be sentenced on something, at least that time that they're in there for will be time served. You understand? So let's say it takes them a year or 2 years to fight the case that they're in there for right now, right? All that time will add up, and the judge will give them time served for the time that they've been spending in there going to court up and back. So let's say Brick Baby, I'm not saying he gonna get no time at all. I don't wish no time on nobody in jail, right? Let's say the judge say, oh, you got 3 years or something to do. I'm just throwing that out there. Brick Baby already been down 2 years. He gonna say, okay, that's time served. You've been going back to court. You got 1 more year to do. That year could turn into like 6 months, or it could eventually get let out and put on house arrest or something like that to do the rest of his time. You could get out that way. You understand? Go to the halfway house. You got 6 months halfway house. You could break it down like that. You know what I mean? So with that being said, and I'm telling y'all straight up, it's best to stay in there and fight your case. All this time is going to be added on. It's going to be time served with the time that you're serving right now. You understand? So it's best not for them to come home right now. I know they miss the streets. You know what I mean? Who wouldn't miss the streets if you in there, man? You're feeding you sandwiches. You know what I mean? You get bologna sandwiches or whatever type of mystery meat they got. You know, y'all? So who wouldn't want to come home? But like I say, it's better to fight it in there. That way all this time is counting. Every minute, hour, month, day they spend in jail, year, is added on to their time once sentencing come. So that's a good thing out of this, y'all. I'll keep y'all posted on some more good news, man. I'm just letting y'all know Brick Baby Luce Cannon got denied bond. Let's see what else happens with this, y'all. I'll keep y'all updated. Tap into my channel, man. Handle your business. And like and subscribe, y'all. Let's go. L Doggy, yep.